Good morning, everyone. My name is Sterling Higa, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd now like to call to order the September 4th, 2024 Kaka'ako Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 10:30 a.m.
Chair, in accordance with section 92-3.7 for the revised statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's Kaka'ako board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details are included on the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The HCDA communication staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clearer audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name each time prior to speaking. If you wish to provide oral testimony and you're attending virtually, please indicate so by clicking the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen. If you are attending in person, you'll be called to the front of the room in the order you signed up. All testimony will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Your testimony must be related to an item on the agenda. Before you begin your testimony, we ask that you identify yourself and spell your name for the record. When 1 minute is remaining, 1 minute will be called. When 30 seconds is remaining, 30 seconds remaining will be called. When time has elapsed, time will be called. After which you will have 30 seconds to conclude your testimony and your audio will be turned off. If you're attending in person, the presiding officer will call the next testifier. Keep in mind that this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor the staff is required to provide an answer. If the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue the meeting at another notice date. Thank you. Chair.
Great. HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you are present by either saying here or present. Let the record reflect that the following members are present. Vice Chair Ishii. Here. Secretary Alpo.
Here.
Member Miranda Johnson.
Here.
Member Anderson.
Here.
Member Streitz.
Here.
Member Evans.
Present.
Member Sakota is excused. Member China.
Here. So you have quorum.
Great. For today's meeting, board members will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide their testimony respectively. Move to agenda item 2, approval of minutes of the regular meeting minutes of July 3rd, 2024. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? If there are no comments or questions, the minutes are approved as presented. Agenda item 3 for information and discussion. A consultation presentation.
Recording in progress.
Consultation presentation under section 206E-113 Hawaii Revised Statutes by Charles Kaneshiro, President and COO of G70 Designs, the consultant for the Department of Education, McKinley High School, regarding improvements to the athletic complex located at McKinley High School, which is in the Kaka'ako Community Development District at 1039 South King Street, Honolulu, Hawaii 96813, and further described by Oahu TMK 12-3-009-001. Mr. Ryan Tam, Director of Planning and Development, will now introduce the G70 staff.
Good morning, Chair Higa and board members. Before we start, I just want to acknowledge Ms. Sari Burhanu, staff planner, who's done a lot of hard work on this, and so she can't be here this morning, but she did a lot of work on this. You do have a copy of the staff report in your packet. I know that Department of Education does have some comments on it, and we're certainly open to that and open to working with them on coming to some amenable language. I just did want to briefly introduce that this is we are holding this in pursuant to HRS 260-13 for revised statutes, where any project of the state shall be constructed, renovated, improved in consultation with the authority. So that's the auspices under which we're doing this. This is an amendment to a previously approved plan. That's a 2011 master plan, which was presented to the board back in September 2014, 10 years ago. And we are ready to process the building permit pending any board discussion or any further conditions. So with that, I'll pass this on to Mr. Kaneko.
Thank you. Good morning, Board Chair, members of the board. Maybe before I start, I want to just introduce other members with me. Mr. Mitch Tamayori from the Department of Education and Mr. Bob Murray from McLean High School Athletic Director. So thanks for your time. I'm just trying to find out where do I share. I'm on the Zoom, but I don't know if it's sharing. Okay.
Sorry for saying long. As I'm attending. You have to accept.
Or the
Accepts me.
You should see the green arrow at the bottom.
Share icon, the green icon.
Let's see, there you go.
What is the name you're logged in at?
Okay.
Join as panelists. Okay. Right. Okay, can you see everybody? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, as Ryan mentioned, this is so the next phase of the implementation of a master plan that was presented to the authority at the time in 2014. This phase of the master plan is going to be building the bleachers, the athletic lockers, showers, a press box, and number of other supporting facilities. So this is a aerial rendering of the campus and the athletic portion of the campus. And since the approval of the original master plan back in 2014, a number of developments have happened. The softball stadium, which has been in the news for various state tournaments, which is off to the left of the page. The tennis courts and the track, the athletic, artificial turf, football field and the track, and all the fencing around this area was done probably in maybe 2017, somewhere around there, about that time frame. And now CIP funds have become available to develop the locker rooms and showers to support the track. And that's what you see connected basically to the edge of the track, which is the main portion is this building 2, which is the bleachers that is over the locker, shower, restrooms, weight room, and coaches' offices. In addition, there's a separate smaller building that's going to house the athletic trainer, concession, some additional restrooms. And there are 4 light poles, which you can kind of see and briefly here in this image, that will provide lighting for evening activities. And those are sort of the major components, and I'll walk through a little bit more detail. This is the rendering from the field view, showing the bleachers and that press box, and then behind it again, behind the bleachers is the locker shower facilities. Just to orientate you, this is Pensacola, the top of the page, Kapiolani Boulevard, along the right-hand side, and Kamakei Street connects up here. Again, the tennis courts, softball, and track and field are all existing. And the components in sort of brown is what we're proposing to add in this next phase of the development. And there's, again, a little bit more detail here. This is what we call building 2, which is the locker, shower, bleachers, coaches' offices, weight room. And they're both lockers and showers for boys and girls that are in this building. Athletic facility, trainer, concession, and restrooms in this smaller building, number 1. And then we have visitor bleachers. They're just one of like 3 or 4 levels of bleachers sitting on in the open. It's not covered. There's the light posts. There are 4 light posts at the corners of the field. And then we're doing some fencing adjustment that is happening on the backside to allow this happen. There is a little bit of a demolition of this existing building to make this happen. This is a part of the athletic. We're replacing these locker rooms with the new ones going in the building, so the school can lose them. And in the future, there's a cottage here that will be replaced as part of this the next phase of the master plan. So this is just a close-up of the floor plan for the athletic training room, and a therapy room, concession, and some restrooms. And then this is elevations. None of the buildings are over 40 feet. I think this one is like 20. So it's a 1-story building. The building 2, the main building that has the bleachers, has again the major restroom component, both PE and athletic lockers, and then they share a shower area, and then all these support offices for the school staff. And then on the other half of the building is the girls' lockers, which are smaller because there's a separate existing girls' athletic locker shower complex. So this is just sort of an additional amendment to meet gender equity requirements. There's a weight room, and then just mechanical, electrical to support those things, and then a lot of storage for track and field equipment, football equipment. And then this is the elevations. Again, the buildings aren't more than 40 feet high. The press box is on the 2nd level of the structure. And this one also shows the light fixtures that will be used to light the field. All the light fixtures will point down and keep the light within the confines of the property. And let's see, I think that's basically sort of an overview of the project. The project is funded. It has CIP funds available. We bid it. We have a contractor in place, and it's already completed. SHPD approval. Most of our building permit approvals are in place or in process. So we're sort of set to get started and with this next phase. And I think everybody at the school is very excited. So with that, I guess any questions about the design or about the components of the project?
Thank you, Mr. Kaneshiro. Ryan, do you have other?
Yeah, I didn't know, did you want to make any?
Okay. Members, are there any questions or comments?
Ryan, did you want to add?
Yeah, actually, so I did want to add, so I know the Department of Education, they did express some concern with our staff report. We had an item H, which discusses the idea to move the fence along Kapiolani Boulevard back within the sewer easements. That's an idea basically just to widen the sidewalk to provide more accommodations for people passing through and for the, people going to the games. There's no funding for this. We still would have to work with the city and Department of Education to address any concerns that they may have. And so we're certainly willing to do that. So I think their concern was more with the word shall. DOE shall work with HCDA staff. And so I think we're amenable to other language.
Yeah, so I think on the DOE side, there's some concerns because it's complicated, it's, you're supposedly building the sewer easement, which may push the fence line back, which may impact, some of the DOE operations on their side and maintenance of the proposed improvements. So I think what we talked about just prior to this meeting is an opportunity to look at rewording that in a way that is going to be acceptable to all parties.
Yeah, great. So we would,
So I had a question. Right?
yes.
So did you look at the fence line on Pensacola as well, as far as the walkthrough? Because it is, at least, I know there was times during the games, there's a lot of traffic there as well. People were actually watching the games through chairs, through the fence line, outside on Pensacola, which made it a very dangerous situation. As people had to go around and walk as well, so not sure if that was addressed as well.
Yeah, that we staff, I think we didn't note that as much, but that is certainly a very narrow sidewalk, and that's something that, we could look at.
Yeah, I think the shed should be addressed as well.
Yeah.
Well, and then maybe it's, everybody is for appropriate and safe pedestrian experiences, and maybe rather than define it here in this wording is this, the language is to be discussed and further for all parties to do that.
The DOE doesn't have an objection, though, to moving the fence eventually, provided that there's funding to do so.
Well, I would say that as long as it doesn't impact, what their operations are. And right now, everything is sort of right up to that easement. So it's not understanding what the impacts will be. It doesn't impact their property and the usage of what's already in the master plan and has been approved. So it's unknown at this point, because it's pretty complicated. It involves wastewater branch at the city as well.
Yeah, so the issue is basically, it's an idea. We don't have any plans for it right now, so we haven't done any, engineering, no design has been done. I think, if this were a developer, if this were a private development, we probably would have just put this down as a condition, but this is a state agency, so I think we just wanted to use this opportunity to indicate that this is something that we might be interested in the future, pending project funding availability.
I have a suggestion regarding that, but maybe we'll go to the member questions and comments first.
Yes, I think so. And then maybe I might have some suggested language for that as well.
Member Evans?
I think you're on.
Can you hear me? Oh, yes. Mr. Kanashiro, thank you very much for the fully shielded light fixtures that will reduce light pollution going up into the night sky and of course affecting the high rises in the area so that they don't get full darkness as they need for health. But I wanted to also echo what Senior Planner Ryan Tam said. Complete streets and safe routes to schools are very important forward-looking policies, and we do want to ensure that there are broader sidewalks and to accommodate and make safer the students who are going to be accessing McKinley, and also the general public. We have a lot of elderly people in that area. They need, you know, a little more space sometimes to you know, walk safely in the neighborhood. So even though it isn't accommodated in the master plan and you've indicated that it would be very, very complicated, I would hope that your, you know, your clients, the DOE, are open to considering HCDA's support for safe routes to schools and complete streets as part of the development of this Kaka'ako Community Development District. Thank you. That was a comment, I think, more than a question.
Thank you, Member Evans. Any other members, comments or questions? Otherwise, Director Nakamoto?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. You know, that section of the crosswalk, the sidewalk on Piolani, kind of east of where Kamake, you know, hits into the school, intersects with the school, is fairly narrow, you know, sidewalk, and I'd like to see, you know, the Department of Education, you know, working with us to see if that's possible. I know it's complicated, but I think I think the city can also share the same concerns for pedestrian safety in the area, and I know ENP, I hope can work with us to see if the fence can be accommodated within that sewer easement area, but not affect the pipe itself or not over the pipe. Would your client, Mr. Kanashiro, maybe consider an adjustment of language, maybe saying that the DOE shall work with the HCDA staff to consider moving the existing fence, something like that? Would that be acceptable?
I think we need to take it up to our leadership, but I think the word shall is what is concerning.
Yeah, the shall is still there, but I think that consider moving the fence.
Considering portion
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
Adequate.
I think what it allows is an opportunity. It's not just foreclose it, right? I don't want to foreclose the opportunity to move the fence. I want to leave it open so that we, you know, we can work to consider moving the fence. I know there's a lot of factors, including funding, but I think the word consider takes all of those into account, if I may.
Right. I agree.
Is that okay? All right.
Yes.
Members, any other comments or questions? Okay, do we have any persons pre-signed up to provide testimony on this matter? Oh, sorry, Member Evans, sorry, your question.
Yes, Mr. Kanashiro, I note that the improvements to the athletic facilities take up a considerable amount of the remaining open space on the super block for McKinley High School. As far as the master plan goes, is there any consideration of putting faculty housing on some of the remaining areas? Faculty and staff housing for 21st century schools is one of our goals for the Office of Planning and Sustainability's efforts to increase housing in urban areas. So that is a question.
Well, it's a good question. It's not been within our purview to look at housing solutions for McKinley. And as I recall, I think FSA is doing a number of those improvements. So School Facilities Authority has taken up that, or been, I don't know if it's been tasked with taking up that charge, but it hasn't been on our side that, or at least DOE has not tasked us to do that. I do believe that, I think Mililani right now has a project through FSA, which is very unique and you know, thought-provoking to provide housing for teachers, which we definitely need. I support that. You know, I used to be a DOE teacher at one time in my life, so many years ago. And so I root on teachers because it's a very needed profession in our society.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members. Thank you, Member Evans. Members, any other comments or questions? Okay, public testimony, anyone pre-signed up to testify? Nope. Do we have any persons present or online who wish to provide testimony? Okay. This concludes this agenda item just for information purposes, right? Thank you, Mr. Kanashiro. Thank you, Brian. All right, we'll move now to agenda item number 4, report of the executive director, the monthly report and other status reports. Executive Director Nakamoto.
Thank you, Chair. The executive director report is tab 3 of your packets. And I just wanted to draw your attention to, the first section, planning and development. I want to note that, there is a long list of, permits that were approved by the planning and development staff. I think it really shows how busy the planning and development staff has been reviewing these kind of permits for replacement of rooftop telecom, other kind of repairs. So I just want to acknowledge the planning and development staff for all the work that they've done. I think this is the longest list I've seen of permits developed in a long time. So permits approved. So thank you for that. I also wanted to draw your attention to Roman 2. We're going to undertake a repair of sewer pipes at Kewalo Basin Harbor. So we're gonna, that work is gonna start later this month, September 3rd, but maybe later this month. We're also in the process of replacing the playground equipment at Kolowalo Park. Inspired Play is in process of installing that. And we're gonna be installing a lot of new equipment that's gonna address, for children of younger ages, children with disabilities. The old playground equipment has been dismantled and was donated to the city and county of Honolulu for use at one of the other parks. As far as Roman 3 capital improvements, Kaka'ako street improvements, we are going to be meeting with the landowners of Ilani Y Street in October 10th, to update them on the deficiency report that was generated by our consultant Wilson Okamoto. Talk about the rough order of magnitude of those costs, and then I think internally we have to decide what priority we're going to give to certain repairs, and then decide if we're going to ask the legislature to fund some of their work. The crosswalk Queen Street is kind of still waiting, kind of a critical part that's on long lead time, but the flashing beacons are on island and we're just waiting for the critical part. The Kolowalo Park, dog park is continuing. I think there's a few major items that need to be completed, and hopefully we can get that done and open to the public sometime in October. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Director. Do we have any members, are there any comments or questions?
I had a question.
Thank you, Rishi.
Chair Nakamoto. The Liliuokalani Trust building that's being
Yes,
renovated.
yes.
Would be good if we can get an update later, as they go through the renovations.
Okay.
Seems to be a lot of action going on right now, and
Yeah.
maybe not the next meeting, but maybe the following meeting would be good to get an
Okay,
update.
sure.
We see what's going on.
Members, any other comments or questions? Member Straits?
Thanks, Chair. I have a question on the Roman numeral 2 section under reserved housing, the second paragraph. Saying there was one request to sell and the HCDA waited buyback because the buyback agent is declining to purchase the unit. Could you expand on that? Was that reflective of the unit condition or the capacity of the?
So we have a right of first refusal during the regulated term to buy back reserve housing. To my knowledge, we have not bought back any of the reserve housing, so we contracted with home ownership, Hawaii Home Ownership Center, HHOC, to be our buyback agent previously, we had an arrangement with HHFDC to buy back units. There's a lot of reasons why, they would, waive that or decline to buy it back. One may be price. The other one may be condition of the unit, although this one, I don't think it was conditioned. There's some units that are less desirable, so it could be that it's less desirable. Especially some of the units we've had in Rycroft Street, when they came up, they were very much less desirable, so they didn't buy it back. Another reason could be that HHOC just doesn't have the budget in their to buy back these units. There's a lot of different reasons why they would decline it. And I think on our part, I'd still like to look for another potential buyback agent that we can utilize for these kind of buybacks. Just so it kind of can stay within a unit for affordability.
Do you have a sense of the percentage that have been bought back,
By us,
or any of the agents? over the years?
HHOC hasn't bought back any units, and then for HCDA, I don't think we bought back any units.
Lindsay on also.
Oh, Lindsay's on here, but I don't think HHOC has not bought back any units. And then I think for HCDA, we have it, and Lindsay is on, so she can add to it.
Yeah, hi members, thank you for that question. I just wanted to add for this waiver in particular, the issue was that the building 803 Waimanu had some concerns by the Hawaii Homeownership Center about the, I guess, desirability for the resale due to the parking garage. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the 803 Waimanu parking situation, but they use a mechanized structure, so it's not a standard parking structure. It has this kind of parking elevator unique system. And so there were some concerns, I guess, that HHOC had heard with potential buyers about that system. So that was one of the reasons they declined.
And member Straits, I think Lindsay can correct if I'm wrong, but HFDC also has reserve housing units in that building, right, Lindsay?
Correct. They actually, I think, have a few still unsold. So they are trying to sell, I think a handful, but sales are not very quick for that development.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Members, any other comments or questions for Director Nakamoto? Okay. Public testimony, any persons pre-signed up to testify? Any persons present or online who wish to provide testimony? Okay, great. Thank you to all members for your attendance, and thank you to those who joined us today on Zoom or in person. This concludes our business for today. The meeting is adjourned and the time is now 11:03 a.m.